An unconvincing performance from Leinster as they overcome a dogged Scarlets. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Leinster really having to work for the win in this one. They produced, maybe 10 or 15 minutes of proper fluid rugby that ended up being the difference between the teams. But you got to give Scarlets a lot of credit for their performance as well. So, speaking of the Scarlets, the first 20 or so minutes, it's all Scarlets. We have Fletcher Anderson, having I felt a really good game for them. He's involved early on. On Scarlets, they're attacking into 22. We have a nice cross kick from Hawkins to the right wing. Kenny scrambles well for Leinster, but Leinster conceded a couple of penalties. Scarlets to the corner twice. They go to the maul the second time. Leinster disrupt well. Scarlet picking and going close to the line. We have a Timo check for a possible try, and Fletcher Anderson, he's really heavily involved. He's actually just short of the line. We come back then for a penalty because Doris was off feet at the ruck. Scarlet's back to the corner to drive the maul, but Joe McCarthy comes through the middle and turns the ball over. I think, one thing to say about the Leinster performance was there was a lot of very good individual performances, but there wasn't a very good team performance. They didn't seem to gel well as a team for most of the game. Scarlets then continue to press and they strike off a line out. They set the ball, move it infield, nice kicking behind, and Roberts gets there first, converted with 7 points to nil. Deeney goes to the bin then for repeated infringements as he took the man in the air in that line out at the start of the move. Scarlets then back in the 22. They're putting on more pressure, quick offloads, high pace to the game. Tommy O'Brien, though, gets over the ball to win a penalty. Leinster, very little of the ball, and even when they do have it, they're just going a couple of phases and then they're putting it to the skies, and they're not really winning those aerial battles convincingly enough either. Finally, though, they look to move the ball with space. There's a deliberate knock on from Roberts and he goes to the bin. Harry Byrne misses touch from the penalty. Leinster then, they do get themselves in that 22 after such a long time. Good work from Sheehan on the right hand side. Recycle a few times. They get it to the edge on the left. Kenny makes it about 5 minutes out. Recycled, but then Fletcher Anderson picks off the pass of James Gibson Park. Jared Taylor then shortly after that, he goes to the bin for cynical play at the breakdown. He was basically at the bottom of the ruck, stuck his arm out to kind of, to knock the ball at Gibson Park's hands. Referee spotted it, so he goes to the bin. Leinster kick to the corner. They shift the ball infield. Furlong goes close. They recycle it, and over goes Ringrose. It's converted then for 7-all. Leinster then look to break out of their own 22. Osborne to Kenny. He beats Rogers for pace on the outside. Kicks in behind, but Blair Murray has it covered and it runs dead. Leinster back into 22. Good carry from Doris. Lovely hands from Sheehan. They send it wide and Kenny goes in to score. Conversions missed, 12 points to 7. Leinster then start to take control as we approach the break, but they can't create another opportunity. Half-time is 12-7. Into that second half then, Leinster with protracted period into Scarlets 22 at the start of that half. Joe McCarthy with some strong carries. Then Barnstorming carry from Sheehan. Gets close, recycled out to Tommy O'Brien. Over he goes in the corner. Conversion missed, 17 points to 7. Leinster then strike again from the restart. Joe McCarthy steals a line out on the left. Jameson Gibson Park moves it quickly. Osborne to Kenny. He then puts Tommy O'Brien over in the opposite corner. Scarlets almost, like, they did get in the passing channel and they got hands to the ball, but they couldn't actually, prevent the score. Converted for 22 points to 7. Gibson Park then knocks on to restart, and Scarlets go through the phases 5 minutes out from the line, but they get held up over the line. But that sparks a period where Scarlets are again coming forward, putting on the pressure. Leinster go early on the lifter again. They get another warning. Scarlets kick to 10 metres out, but then they concede a penalty. Scarlets then to the corner after neck roll from Deegan. Sheehan comes through the maul to turn it over, but there's a knock on from Tommy O'Brien. Scarlets shifted from the scrum, and Rogers goes over in the opposite corner. Conversion missed, 22 points to 12. Leinster then pressing again at 22. You have a TMO check for possible try. On field, there's no try held up. Deegan, though, has managed to get that ball down. It's a try, converted for 29 points to 12. Archie Hughes then snipes, and it's from the edge of the 22. He gets right in behind the defence. He's got Max Douglas in support. Pops it off to him, and over he goes, converted for 29 points to 19. Leinster then go quickly from a scrum penalty into 22. They go through a few phases, then put it through the hands. And Kenny is in for his second, converted for 36 points to 19. Scarlets then looking for a bonus point try as they go to the corner from a penalty, but they knock on as they move it from the maul. Tommy O'Brien then, a great try-saving tackle. Scarlets breaking up the middle into the 22, but he gets back, makes a tackle a couple of meters short of the line, gets back up onto his feet, gets over the ball and wins a penalty. Brilliant play for him, and a deserved player of the match award as well. And then full-time score, 36 points to 19. So let's have a look at the stats, and we'll talk about each of the teams. So let me pull the stats up here on the official site. And I'm hoping as well for, at this point it's too late for this year, but I'm hoping for next year to actually, sort of stats out in terms of like the defense still doesn't have tackling stats in it. But let's start with attack. So 6 tries to 3. So obviously bonus point win for Leinster. Scarlets just shy of that bonus point themselves. Possession then 45 to 55. So Scarlets with most of the ball. Offloads 14 to 18. So you can see Scarlets really looking to keep that ball alive. Both teams at times doing it as well. Meters gained then 529 to 326. So even though Scarlets have most of the ball, Leinster, the more penetrating with ball in hand. Clean breaks then 15 to 10. Defenders beaten 23 to 32. So Leinster converting about what is it, 2 and 3 or something like that, and then the Scarlets just 1 and 3 for them. Onto territory then, so defence territory 36% for Leinster, 64% for Scarlets. So they had most of the ball, and most of the time they were playing in the Leinster half of the field as well. Kicks and play then 33 to 37. Kick success from the tee 50% to 67%. So that problems that Leinster have had from the tee all season still haven't been sorted out. And coming up to Champions Cup, the run in the URC as well, that's something that really could be an issue if they don't sort it out. Kicking meters then 758 to 901. So Scarlets kicking much longer. Kicks retained 5 for Leinster, 7 for Scarlets. On to set piece then, line out. Lineouts 14 for 15 for Leinster and 20 for 22 for Scarlets, and that gives 93 and 91% success. Leinster stealing 2 Scarlets lineouts and Scarlets stealing 1. Scrums then, Leinster 3 from 3, Scarlets 6 from 7, but Leinster definitely had the nudge on the scrum. Okay, so let's talk about the teams. So let's start with Scarlets first. So very good start to the game. Put on lots of pressure. They had to put a lot of effort in though to get the scores that they did get, and I spent a lot of time to Leinster 22 without coming away with anything as well, especially in that second half. But at the same time, looking dangerous, ball in hand, making good meters. I thought they were good in defence as well, aggressive, causing Leinster issues both sides of the ball. And, there was some real dog about them. And the end, obviously haven't had the best season. But this, like, the way they're playing at the moment, and if they can continue to the end of the season, reminds me of 2 seasons ago where they were doing stuff like this. They were staying in games. They were showing that they had a bit of fight about them. And that was the precursor for last season, where they ended up finishing 8th in the league and getting into the playoffs and into the Champions Cup as well. So, if you're a Scarlets fan, you certainly take that. I think next year, given the season they've had this year, and all the turmoil as well that is obviously there in Welsh rugby too, like not a great time to be Welsh at all. But it feels like, at the end of Six Nations, there was certainly a much brighter outlook for the Test team. And, with performance like this as well, you feel like there's going to be a brighter outlook for the regions as well, as long as the WU actually have a bit of sense and actually decide to keep all 4 rather than the stupid decision that I feel of going down to 3. But we'll have to see about that. But for Scarlett specifically, I think under Dwayne Peel a couple of seasons ago, we saw this where, again, they had that bit of fight towards the end of the season, because we know with Scarlets, they've always had the skill, the ambition to put the ball through the hands. It can always cause problems, when they get a bit of space. They have the players that have, the handling ability, pace, and also, just that footballing nous as well, to take advantage of situations. But the issue for them has often been the fact that, the pack can be wishy-washy, can be part of puff at times. When they're playing like the way they did today, and they have some real grit about them, that's what you want to see, I think, from Scarlets. And that's when you can get that blend of the best of both worlds coming from them. So I think it's good signs for Scarlets going forward. Leinster then, they scored 6 tries today, but it certainly wasn't, a perfect performance. And we've rarely seen Leinster, maybe La Rochelle in the Champions Cup. Other than that, we haven't really seen Leinster hitting top gear, and they certainly didn't get anywhere near it today. But they had that period of 10-15 minutes either side of half time where they were able to kind of establish that lead and then kind of, keep that until the end of the game. But, there's, a lot of issues still to be sorted out for them, I feel, just in terms of, first of all, slow starts to games. It's been an issue. Discipline has certainly been an issue. They've given away 6 penalties in the first 20 minutes or something of this game. The set piece I thought went pretty well today, but at the same time, the defense on the line-out was an issue. The fact that they gave away the same penalty about 3 times for driving early and not waiting for the man to come down, and the fact that they couldn't sort it out on the field is definitely an issue. As I said, there was a lot of very good individual performances. You would look at, you look down through the team, you'd say, front row, looking down through the team, Porter was decent, Sheehan was decent, so was Furlong. Into the second row, then McCarthy, I thought was excellent. Deeney got himself a yellow card, and probably was one of the poorer Leinster players. Into the back row then, I thought Deegan was pretty good. Van der Fleer, Doris, all good. And then you're into the backs. Gibson Park had some, I would say he had good moments rather than a good game, because he had a few kind of wayward passes. He had some kicks where they hardly went anywhere, and like players were just kind of waiting for the ball to come back down. Maybe not some great decisions from him either, but then he had some really good moments in the game as well. At 10, I thought Harry Byrne did fairly well, without being spectacular. And kicking from the tee again, an issue. Prendergast, when he come on, was okay. You can see like he maybe trying to push things a little bit too much. Into the centre stand, thought Osborne was excellent at 12. Ringrose was decent at 13. Wingers then, I thought both wingers, Kenny and Tommy O'Brien getting a couple of tries each, and then Jimmy O'Brien at the back I thought was fairly solid. And then from the bench, Finnegan still has that issue for me where you can tell when he's going to kick, because he has to switch. He has to switch to the other side because he passes off his right and he kicks off his left, and it's so easy, easy to telegraph and see it, when he's going to do it. But overall, I thought, the bench is good. It's nice to see Alex Soroka getting back into the mix as well. He's a guy I really like him. He's one of these players that I think he would have been. Possibly a bigger name for Leinster had he not had such a bad run with injuries as well. But hopefully he can stay fit. He can stay in the mix as well, because players like that are going to bring that enthusiasm that we saw. You look at the Ireland team where you had players like most of the Ulster players, with the likes of Balakoon, Ichichuku, but then we had players from other provinces as well, a Dogbo as well, coming in and just giving that lift to the squad, because they're not kind of the usual nailed on players. And I think that's what Leinster need as well, is a bit of freshening up in terms of just getting that team momentum with the team, and getting that cohesion together as well, because players go away with Ireland and then they come back in, and then they're playing in a different system, maybe with some slightly different personnel as well, and it takes them a while to get up to speed. And now they've got to run in to the end of the season, and so how can Leo Cullen and his coaches actually manage the squad to make sure that they're actually going to hit peak for the knockout stage? At the moment, I have to say I remain unconvinced.